Hello, my name is Abigail Kima. I volunteer with Parvati Foundation, an international non-profit dedicated to a healthy world. It is an honor to be speaking at this year's Mock COP26, and I would love to appreciate the team that put this together.
We live in an interconnected world. We each are a part of something bigger than us, like drops of water in the oceans of life. Whatever we think, feel, or do ripples like a wave through this ocean and touches everyone, and then in turn, that touches us. We can also see it in how one person getting sick on the other side of the world can cause our neighborhood to shut down. We can see it in how acts of kindness can spread across the globe. If you have been feeling that something is terribly wrong with our world, you are not alone and you are not wrong. Even if you feel powerless faced with what may seem huge or unsurmountable, the truth is you have the power for change, and that is what this presentation is about. For centuries, people used to believe that our world was flat. Eventually, we came to understand that the earth is round. But it's time we see things even more clearly. We and our world exist within a vast and intelligent whole. And when we understand the power we have because we are interconnected, we can change the world. Here is someone who understands this, and she dreams big and puts it into action. During an unusually hot summer in Toronto, Parvati was about to do a concert tour in Asia, but she kept having a dream of lying on ice while a blue whale swam below. 3 weeks later, she was in a remote village in the high Arctic on her way to the top of the world. That's where two Inuit elders greeted Parvati and said, "You're the one who has come to do healing for the planet. We knew you were coming, the well told us." In that moment, Parvati understood we are all interconnected. Nature's intelligence will work through us if we're willing to listen. Here is Parvati making history in the northernmost musical performance ever. While Parvati was in the Arctic, she met with elders, hunters, and ecologists. She spoke on city council and presented and performed at schools. Everyone she met gave her the same message for the South. The ice is melting, animals are dying, people are suffering. After Parvati returned to Toronto, she created Parvati Foundation with a mission to immediately protect our planetary life support system, the Arctic Ocean. For millions of years, long before humans ever walked on Earth, the Arctic Ocean has kept our planet cool like an air conditioner and healthy like a medical mask. It does this in 7 important ways. It protects our homes from rising sea levels. It regulates our world's weather patterns that grow the food and the resources we all depend on. It safeguards us from a drastic rise in global emissions, providing us with clean air. It protects us from future pandemics by supporting our global immunity. It helps to balance our economies by preventing natural disasters. By doing all this, it preserves stable, healthy societies, and it supports world peace. But here are 2 main problems. The ice is melting very quickly, and governments and businesses around the world want to profit off the thaw. We must change this for the following reasons. Scientists at Yale University have shown there is 75% less Arctic sea ice in the summer than there was just 50 years ago. Where the ice once reflected half of the sun's heat back out into space in what we call the albedo effect, the exposed Arctic water now absorbs 90% of the heat, changing our world's air conditioner to a warming kettle. When the sea ice melts, the Arctic air warms up, then so does the land. This is making sea level rise all over the planet. As the ice melts, global weather patterns destabilize. Floods and droughts are on the rise, hitting hardest in vulnerable areas. A heating planet also means crop failures as well as water and food shortages. Meanwhile, by keeping Arctic seabed oil and gas off limits, the Arctic ice has been protecting us from 148 trillion kilograms of carbon dioxide being emitted into the atmosphere that would further heat the planet. This means the newly open waters threaten our transition off fossil fuels to renewable energies. In addition, the Arctic Ocean is a safe refuge for animals that help us breathe. 17 different species of whales, 3 of whom live there year-round. Through what is known as the whale pump effect, whales bring nutrients from the ocean depths to fertilize phytoplanktons at the ocean surface, which capture carbon out of the air and are responsible for half the oxygen we breathe or every other breath. Phytoplanktons also capture nearly half of global CO2 production, equivalent to 1.7 trillion trees a year. But as ship strikes are a leading cause of whale deaths, exploitation of the Arctic Ocean threatens both whales and us. Commercial fishing trawlers are now damaging the ice as well as the ocean floor. Large ships break up the ice. The ice becomes dark from dirty fuel, so that it now absorbs rather than reflects the sun's heat, further accelerating the thaw. Companies look for oil and gas in the ocean floor by firing air guns into the water that are 100,000 times louder than a jet engine every 10 seconds for 24 hours a day. This is devastating to whales who live and navigate by sound. But the pursuit of oil and gas in the vulnerable Arctic Ocean doesn't just harm the whales. Scientists agree that the Arctic oil must remain off limits to keep the entire world from heating up more than 2 degrees. The air pollution from burning fossil fuels kills 10,000 people every day. But that's not the only threat that could take our breath away. Arctic ice has been keeping the lid on literally thousands of years of viruses and bacteria. In addition, scientists estimate that Arctic soil contains methane equivalent to 4 to 5 times all the carbon dioxide humanity has emitted since 1850. And as the permafrost melts, methane erupts into the atmosphere in explosions that leave craters like the ones you see here. They can be big or small. What scientists are saying is that the damage from a really big one would cause extreme heat stress, droughts, and storms that will undermine our global economy. The cumulative effect of all these stresses on our world, heat, rising sea levels, natural disasters, crop failures, disease, economic instability, lead to social unrest, mass migration, and refugees. It is important to consider that the selfish thinking that led to these problems in the first place feeds more suffering in turn. Everything we do affects all life. The Arctic Ocean's ice is melting because our social, economic, and political systems around the world are often driven by decisions that focus on short-term gain rather than on long-term benefit. When we close ourselves off from the good of all, our world gets sick, and so do we. What was a natural peace sanctuary for millennia is now a place of growing unease. As the Arctic Ocean's ice melts, nations are sending in armed forces to assert territorial claims to what lies beneath. But governments and businesses moving into this critical ecosystem are putting us all at risk. The only sane choice is to get out. Protecting all life on Earth begins with putting the Arctic Ocean in quarantine. Scientists affirm what indigenous elders already knew. The oldest and thickest ice in the Arctic Ocean has declined by a stunning 95%. Every second, 14,000 tons more Arctic ice melts into the ocean, threatening our survival. How much longer will we wait? How much bigger do we need to be? Pulitzer Prize-winning Harvard biologist Edward O. Wilson says, "We must protect half of the planet to prevent mass extinction." Over 20,000 scientists from almost every country around the world have warned humanity in an open letter to immediately change our ways. The problem we face today is huge. But there is an effective, practical, and immediate response. MAPS, the Marine Arctic Peace Sanctuary, protects all life by safeguarding the entire Arctic Ocean north of the Arctic Circle. It acts on our interconnection to stop the exploitation that puts us at risk. In white here is MAPS, the largest marine protected area ever at 8 million square kilometers. It is like a medical mask for our world. With a single initiative, MAPS supports almost every United Nations Sustainable Development Goal. We realize MAPS in 3 key ways through government acceleration, grassroots empowerment, global activation. To realize MAPS, we need to update the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea. So we created the MAPS Treaty, translated it into 6 official languages of the United Nations, and gave it to all 193 member states. It enters into force when 99 countries sign on. We are in regular contact with world leaders to secure treaty signatures. Here you see the Prime Minister of Samoa and the Cook Islands have already signed the MAPS Treaty. They know their countries are sinking and we need maps now. Yvonne de Bois, former executive secretary to the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, has said MAPS is the only sane choice for the critically vulnerable Arctic ecosystem for the sake of our seas, our atmosphere, and all life. Governments act when people demand for change. Our petition and letter writing campaigns help you hold them accountable for MAPS. Our volunteer team and allies are growing worldwide from Australia to Zimbabwe. But grassroots activism and the United Nations take time. Time we don't have. How do we protect all life quickly? As Albert Einstein said, a new type of thinking is essential if mankind is to survive and move towards higher levels. When Parvati returned from the North Pole, she was still moved by the dream of the well, acutely aware of our interconnection and the need to help the world awaken to it. She told her team, "When we understand that we are all connected, we cannot harm because to do so would hurt ourselves and all life." She knew that to respond effectively to our current crisis, we need to address not just its symptoms but the underlying issue. James Gustav Steff, co-founder of the Natural Resource Defense Council, explains why an ecological approach is not enough. "I used to think the top environmental problems were biodiversity loss, ecosystem collapse, and climate change, but I was wrong. The top environmental problems are selfishness, greed, and apathy, and to deal with those, we need a cultural transformation." The catastrophic situations in the Arctic Ocean and our world are symptoms of a deeper problem. We have lost touch with our inherent interconnection. The indigenous Arctic elder known as Uncle says, "We need to melt the ice in the heart of man if man is to stand a chance." So, Parvati Foundation has created GEM, Global Education for Maps, to do just that. GEM is music, yoga, words, TV, web, and events that reawaken interconnection to activate social change. Part of the written content of GEM is the free Parvati magazine you see here at parvatymagazine.com, as well as 5 upcoming self-help and 9 young adult fiction books. Since inner peace is the foundation of world peace, as part of GEM, we also have an online workshop called Finding Your Inner Peace Sanctuary at parvati.org. Also, at parvati.world, you will find calming practices, inspiring music, and more to support your health at all levels. We are reaching millions with the positive and inspiring message of MAPS through our Yogis Unite campaign. Find out more at yogisunitemaps.org. Coming soon to radio waves and video streams everywhere is Ocean Anthem, a pop album dedicated to our world's great waters, the first of 7 albums of music for MAPS. Thanks to our global activation through GEM, working in conjunction with grassroots empowerment and government acceleration, MAPS has become an unstoppable worldwide movement with representation in 24 countries, international law in the making, 49 coalition partners including Jane Goodall Foundation and Sylvia Al's Mission Blue, growing youth initiatives and multiple inspiring campaigns unfolding. We understand that we are all connected. We feel, I am Ocean Anthem, I am MAPS, I am the world. Out of compassion, we courageously protect all life with MAPS. Every day, as many as 200 species disappear forever. 2 billion people in our world don't have enough to eat today, risking malnutrition and poor health. The World Bank estimates that in 2013, 1.6 billion people were living in countries and regions with absolute water scarcity, and the number is expected to rise to 2.8 billion people by 2025. But the most important thing to remember is that we can act for positive change. We can alter the direction we are going. This is what MAPS is giving us. The sooner we act, the more lives we save, including our own. So how do we take action? First, education. Please use all the free resources available to use at parvati.org, parvati.world, parvatymagazine.com, and yogisunitemaps.org. Social media updates are posted daily. For activation, sign our MAPS petition. Pick up your phone and go to parvati.org where you'll see the petition on the front page. Now scroll down to where it says sign the MAPS petition and fill in your details, first and last name, email, city, country, postal code. This is the information needed to ensure petitions are legitimate and we keep it secure. So please take a moment now to sign, and you've already taken action to support a healthy world. A voice for MAPS is a vote for interconnection. You can also get involved like I did and become a MAPS ambassador. I've met lots of like-minded people and we have fun as we protect all life. All you have to do is go to parvati.org/youth. Beyond these practical steps, take a moment to think of the ways you are interconnected. Through the air you breathe that is shared with every living being on the planet, through the people you know and those who know them in turn, through the dreams you share with even those you don't know. Remember, you are a drop of water perfectly carried by the ocean of life. There has been a never better time for courage that recognizes our inherent interconnection and action that arises out of compassion for all. MAPS is not only a boundary that protects nature, nor is it just a boundary that protects the fate of humanity. MAPS redefines our values to support the collective good. When you understand that the Arctic Ocean protects us all, MAPS makes the whole world our sanctuary. Thank you for being here to share in the power of interconnection and the opportunity that MAPS gives us for a peaceful and a healthy world.